A Black Life That We Cannot Forget Matters. The story of BILAL DASHA COLBERT, nearly 20 years later. On April 30th, 2001, two little girls were being driven to school by a man they considered to be their stepfather, their mother's fiancé, 30-year-old BILAL DASHA COLBERT. BILAL DASHA COLBERT, who was black, was pulled over by white police officer William Mildon in Irvington, New Jersey on suspicion of a bad license plate. Shortly after, BILAL, who was unarmed, was shot in the neck and killed by Officer Mildon. The girls, ages 8 and 10, ran screaming to tell their family what had just happened. Officer Mildon would claim that he feared for his safety, that the car reversed and the door hit his leg. This was Officer Mildon's second fatal shooting. Years earlier on the same block, Officer Mildon shot and killed Keon Williams. People in the community allege that Officer Mildon taunted BILAL for almost a year prior to the incident, making several threats, including shooting motions with his thumb and forefinger. Senators John Corzine and Bob Torselli and President Lawrence Ham of the civil rights group People's Organization for Progress asked the Justice Department to investigate. A grand jury failed to indict Officer Mildon, nor was he ever indicted for shooting and killing Keon Williams. Peaceful protests were organized and rallies held, including a march led by the Reverend Al Sharpton. The story was widely covered by local and national media outlets. On a rainy April 30th, 2002, protesters came together in Irvington, New Jersey to remember BILAL and to mark the one-year anniversary of his death. Protesters shouted, "We won't stop. We can't stop." It is believed that Officer Mildon went on to become a detective and then a captain with the Roseland Police Department. The chairman of the police committee praised Mildon for making the community extremely proud, commenting that what he does for the community is what it's all about. The chief of police characterized Mildon as a true professional, a leader and a motivator. He said, "There are certain things that define titles and actions, and I truly believe that Billy defines the definition of a policeman. He's here to protect and serve this community, and see nothing less of that community. I don't know anyone else as committed as Billy is to this community and this profession." Neither BILAL nor Keon Williams were mentioned. On May 25, 2020, George Floyd was killed by Minnesota police after an officer applied a knee to his neck for almost 9 minutes. Bystanders caught the incident on their cell phone cameras. The officer's conduct sparked outrage, protests, and rallies that spread from Minnesota through the country and around the world. Many government officials and law enforcement agencies condemned the behavior of the 4 officers involved. Many protesters carry signs with lists naming black victims who died at the hands of racism. Social media is flooded with similar lists that include such names as Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor. April 30th, 2021 will mark 20 years since Officer Mildon shot and killed BILAL DASHA COLBERT. His family still gathers every year in his memory. His fiancée marched during a George Floyd protest organized by Lawrence Ham and the People's Organization for Progress. However, there seem to be no follow-up stories in the media, no community of protesters chanting his name, no one checking up on his fiancée or the 2 little girls who were forever traumatized by witnessing their stepfather killed in front of them. There were no funds set up to help take care of the son who would never get to meet his father. BILAL Jr. was 3 months old when his father was killed. In fact, outside of close friends and family, no one has asked how they are doing. We cannot forget BILAL DASHA COLBERT's story. His name must be added to the list of people we are determined to remember in this war against police brutality and racism. Nearly 20 years after his death, not much has changed. We cannot look back in 20 years and say that we don't know how George Floyd's loved ones are doing. When I came across this story in 2019, it touched my heart and brought me to tears. I knew their story needed to be heard again. I wanted to do a follow-up story over podcast. I began interviews of his family members. However, a hectic life and a bunch of excuses got in the way. I never managed to achieve this goal until now. I apologize to BILAL DASHA COLBERT's family for failing. I'm sorry we all failed to remember and to check in on you. This is a call to honor the memory of Bilal Dashaw Colbert, born December 17, 1970. A call to never forget any of our fallen brothers and sisters, their families, or communities. A call to set up a memorial in their honor. A call to mainstream media that they must do more than cover these matters when they are trending and then go almost 2 decades without another mention. I ask that you share the story with the hashtags Bilal Dashaw Colbert, April 30th, 2021. We owe it to his loved ones and to ourselves to recommit to remembering their story, showering them with love, celebrating his life, protecting them, and documenting our history. We choose to never forget. We choose what matters to us. Bilal's life mattered. Black Lives Matter. Hashtag Bilal Dashaw Colbert. Hashtag April 30th, 2021. We promise to honor his memory with you next year. You are not alone. Bilal Dashaw Colbert, December 17th, 1970 to April 30th, 2001. Unarmed, shot and killed in Irvington, New Jersey by a police officer in front of his 2 young stepdaughters on their way to school. Nearly 20 years later, we must still remember his name. Hashtag Bilal Dashaw Colbert. Hashtag April 30th, 2021. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. The views expressed here are solely my own, Yoli, and do not reflect any office, state, federal, court, or any agency otherwise. Thank you.